in September to a girl in Wisconsin that is going to be a pipe welder. She's thinking of welding. Yeah. She loves her job. And one of the reasons why I love doing what I'm doing is when I call these students, like I called her, she was actually crying because she couldn't make her next payment on her classes.
Wow.
The $1,000 I gave her is not only going to pay for it, it's going to make her actually graduate and go into her field.
Oh my
So
God.
that's why I do it, because people don't realize trade schools don't cost that much money compared to college.
Sure.
And oh, before I forget this, we're not against college at all. I keep forgetting to bring this one up.
That's my buddy, Ultra Steve Turner. Not Scuba Steve, Ultra Steve. He's the founder of Bring Back the Trades, a nonprofit that is committed to helping people expand their knowledge and expertise in the trades. And ultra marathon, like 240.3 miles in the desert, in the snow, by himself. Like, talk about a gamer. He's like super easygoing, super laid back. You'd never guess that this dude's got what he's got. And I'm hoping that a little bit of that rubs off on me and Renee to help us elevate our game and impact our communities the way he has. As you listen, you're going to hear about a problem that we need your help with. He's got a whole bunch of money coming in that he needs to give away, or rather award, but he needs some scholarship applications in order to award that money. So we need y'all's help, man. We need y'all to get the word out there. If you know people that are in a trade school right now, doesn't matter how old they are, if they're in a trade school and looking for some scholarship money to help with their tuition, all they got to do is apply. So get the word out there. Hopefully we get so many people coming in that I'm going to be asking y'all to volunteer to review scholarship applications. And Steve is just like a real human being. He's overcome some significant adversity, and he shares with us about that. He imparts some good wisdom and motivation for my baby brother Renee. And I'm just gonna stop talking, because all I'm gonna do is brag about him, and I'm just in the way of you getting to know my buddy Steve. And before we go there, gotta remind you, shout out to all the patrons out there that have been contributing to keep us commercial free and keep the goodness coming. So here we go to Mr. Steve Turner. What's going on, L&M family? We have a superstar, superhero today, Mr. Steve Turner. How you doing, Steve?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Oh man, we were excited. I was bragging to Renee about me even knowing you, and your recent 240.3 mile ultra marathon, and he was kind of like, "Oh my God, that's a
That's
big deal."
crazy.
Well, I just signed up for a 257 in May, so it's going higher
Dang,
in
257.
Arizona,
Oh my good. So where was the last one at?
Moab, Moab, Utah.
Okay, so in Utah, that was the desert, and I think I remember you telling me there was a part where it snowed.
Yes, the last 18 miles we ran through a snowstorm, but first day and a half we ran through torrential downpours. So there was a lot of injuries. I mean, I helped one guy with a blown out kneecap get to the top of like an 8,000-foot mountain, get him up to the top, just so we could get him out of the area because he couldn't walk anymore. But there was a lot of injuries this year, a lot, because what happens in the desert, which I didn't really realize, is it's so compact when it rains, the water has nowhere to go. So it creates like rivers, and the sand turns into mud.
Oh,
It was a tough one.
ah, 240 miles, 240.3 miles
Yeah.
alone is a lot. And
Actually,
then
it was
you
240.1 this year for some reason. I don't know. So it was 2.2 less.
took a shortcut.
Yeah, it was an easy one.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
But this one, like I told you before, I did this one alone compared to the last one. So I found out that, how do I explain this? Last year I did it with a crew and a
Yep.
pacer, which people don't realize when you're coming, you have a crew that comes and helps you throughout the race. When every time you come out, they give you socks, shorts. They basically they're like an 8,500. You come in, they take your tires off, they give you fuel, they do everything for you. I mean,
Yeah.
it's seriously, it's that good. And I had a pacer last year that after mile 72, you can have somebody come with you to keep you mentally in track. And then at night they'll keep you awake. But this year I did it 100% myself with a pack. So I realized that mental strength is. I have a lot more mental strength than I thought I had because there was at least 10 times throughout that race that I physically wanted to give up.
Oh,
Just my mind was telling me, Steve, you've done this before. You have nothing to prove. Go home. And
mm,
this is the guy that told me on the side, and this guy says, you know what? You didn't come here to give up. Keep going. So it taught me a
man.
lot about. It actually taught me a lot about the physical body is pushed by the brain extremely. I mean, when they say it's all mental, these races are all mental.
Mm, And so, what did you tell yourself to not quit?
Well, I would basically just say, get back up, stop talking like that. I mean, mile 70, was it 72? I came out for my first real break to take some sleep. I laid down for like 15 minutes, and I was telling myself physically, I'm done. I'm pulling the plug. I'm going to call my wife, and I'm going to fly home. And I'm physically saying no. You're talking to yourself saying no. You're not doing that. Yes, you are doing that. No, and then you just get back up and you feel better, and then you get to another point where it's like everybody in life. You have lows and you have highs, and in those 4.5 days, you have a lot of lows and you have a lot of highs, and then you get to a certain point where you're if as a runner, I'm sure you get to a certain point in a race where you say, okay, I'm almost there, whether or
Yeah.
not it's 120 miles, whatever it is, and you just mentally start pushing. And after about 200 miles, you're there, or 180 miles, whichever it was, and you get that drive in your body. You say, okay, let's go.
Let's go. Let's make it
But
happen.
it was a severe, especially at nighttime, because it's dark from say 4:30 to, and in Utah the sun doesn't come up because of the mountains until about 8 o'clock in the morning. So it's 13, 14 hours of pitch dark, and I was
Oof.
by myself for most of that at night, looking around for miles and not seeing spotlights and just being out
No.
there by yourself
Mm,
and looking
mm,
at your watch going, I got 8 hours before I get to my next aid station. I mean, it's
Wow.
it's hard. Yep.
mm, mm, mm,
But
mm.
the way I look at it, and I talk about this all the time. Everybody has their own struggles in life,
Yeah.
and that was just my struggle that I had to get through to get to the next. Everybody looks at me saying, you're unbelievable, but everybody in their life has a situation that they have to get through. And
Yes.
I've talked about this before, and most of the runners that I even this year ran into about four more runners that were all fighting addiction. Whether or
Yep.
not, they were fighting it or they're over it, we're all out there searching for something better, meaning our lives. We want to prove to ourselves that we're better than the person that we left. We're leaving the person behind that we were to be a
Mm-hmm.
better person. So we get across
Yes.
that finish line, we know that we're a better person.
Yes.
So
Yes.
these ultra runners a lot of them have had issues in their lives.
10, 4. It reminds me of, because I've shared this with you and with the L&M family out there. I've been in recovery for over 5 years. And and this isn't my first time, right? There's been a
Yep.
few other attempts.
Yep.
And there was a phrase that they would say in the groups was, this too shall pass, right? Whenever I'm in a new struggle, a new failure, whatever it is, new dilemma, it was, this too shall pass. I've been through worse. My family has sacrificed a lot for me, and they've been through worse.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's gonna be all right. We just gotta keep putting one foot in front of the other.
Yep.
But we're human. It's tough, and we have the wrestle. Renee, you ever have that wrestle of, I want to quit? No, keep going.
Oh yeah, all the time. All the
Which one?
time.
Which one wins?
The quitting one. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No,
Yes.
I just what keeps me going. Just I have like for example, at my job now, that's really relevant now because I'm a field utility coordinator for my water company, in San Antonio Saws. And right now, there's a lot of fiber optic contractors doing boring in San Antonio. So that means the field utility coordinators need to mark on the ground the water utilities so they don't bore right through them, right?
Mhm.
And there is so much Google Fiber being installed in San Antonio that our overtime is out the roof. It's like almost unlimited overtime, and like they need us to be at work to mark these utilities so they don't blow up all of our water lines.
Yep.
So I'm working like 13, 14-hour shifts every day, and they're asking me to work Saturdays and Sundays, and it's a lot. It's a lot, and our utility maps are not always the best in certain areas, and it's frustrating. And you're marking in high traffic areas. You're in the middle of the street on the highway sometimes, and it's frustrating, it's dangerous, and it's scary. And I'm like, man, you know what? Sometimes I get that voice like you on that left shoulder that's telling me like, you know what, man, it's not worth it.
Yep.
Just go apply, for an easier job. Go. You know what? You have leave time. Take 2 weeks off, or do this or do that. Don't come call in today, or but I also, man, on my other shoulder, I was like, hey, you have a wife, you have 2 kids, they're looking up to you. Are you going to be that guy that's quitting all the time? Are you going to
Mm.
show your son and your daughter that it's okay to quit every time it gets hard? So that always keeps me going.
Yep.
10-4. Yeah.
And I will say, when I'm in that car and if I had quit, I will tell you right now that because I would have quit mentally, not physically,
Mm.
because I was physically fine. It was the mentally. So if I had mentally quit, it would have destroyed me mentally. I know
Forever going
I would
forward.
have,
Yeah.
because it's one thing to have an injury that you say, you know what, you can't do it.
Right.
But it's another thing to mentally quit for me. I mean, I'm just one of those,
Yes.
I think I've described a year ago, when Bring Back the Trades got shut down. I was out for a run and I couldn't raise money. I couldn't do anything. And I came home to my wife. It was a snowstorm. I said, you know what? I've thought about Bring Back the Trades, and I think I'm gonna close it. And she looked at me and she goes, "Ah, you're gonna quit something?"
Ooh.
That was it.
That's all it took.
That was it.
Okay, never
Yeah.
mind.
Yep. So I'm just not a
Well,
quitter.
and I am so grateful that you're not a quitter, because the Bring Back the Trades. It you and I connected because of our passion and our love and appreciation for the trades. So can you tell the L&M family more about Bring Back the Trades?
Absolutely. So Bring Back the Trades was started in 2017 because I own Turner's Upholstery in Rye, New Hampshire. We're a small person upholstery shop. We do anything from high-end upholstery to any kind of car. So if you had a regular Dodge Dakota truck or something like that, and you had a cigarette burn, we fix the burn, or we do convertible tops, boat seats, and a lot of interior stuff for cars. I've been in business next month 34 years, I think it is. I'm doing
Wow.
1989, so I think it's 34 years. I started right out of high school when I was 19 years old because I went to work for an upholstery shop when I was 15 because I hated school, and that's part of my passion about the trades and what I'm doing is because I had nobody directing me in high school of my career path. I was working at I think Shaw's at the time, was taking auto body classes because back when I was in high school, my whole high school was full of trades. They had
Ah,
auto body, automotive, machinist. We had a lot of trades in all the schools. So I was taking automotive. I was actually doing a lot of painting of cars. So that's what I was going to do. I was going to be a painter.
yeah.
One day there was a little card up on the wall that said, sweeping floors at an auto upholstery shop. And I'm like, you know what? I've been working at Shaw's forever. Let me try something else. So I went to work for this company, started sweeping the floors, cleaning the bathrooms, going to the bank, doing all that stuff for the first 2 years, and then started doing some upholstery at night, stuff like that, but pretty much not really that much. And then in 1989, I think you're old enough. You don't look old enough to remember. You probably weren't even born in 1989, but
Nah. Nope.
okay. That's, when you're talking to people at our age now, it's like, look, I go to a classroom, like, these people weren't even born when I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
But in 1989, we had a severe decline in the economy,
Mm-hmm.
and pretty much everybody got laid off from my shop. And my father at the time knew this guy that had a little tiny garage. You could put one car in it and had a little tiny office. He goes, "Hey, do you think you can make it go?" And I'm like 19 years old. I'm like, "Yeah, of course I can make this go.
Heck
This
yeah.
is gonna be easy. All I have to do is get a couple cars and I'll make tons of money." Well, I had $3,000 in the bank. I bought a sewing machine, paid my rent, and I would say within a couple weeks I was broke.
Yeah.
But looking back, it was probably the best thing that ever happened to me because it taught me how to be a go-getter. I
Mm.
went from door to door. I did this, I did that, um, and I built the the shop, you know, built it by hand, by as far as the
Yep.
upholstery part of it, taught myself. And then in 1996, I got married to my lovely wife, and we bought a house. And I built my shop, which is now attached to my house.
Nice.
And in 2006, I got my employee has been with me 18 years this year.
Wow.
We built a pretty good, and I have to, it's not just me that's built this. My guy does fabulous work. He actually drives an hour and a half every day to get here.
Woo.
Yeah,
Wow.
yes. So he's dedicated. So we work very well together. But to get off the track, Bring Back the Trades was started because of the lack of me trying to grow my business. I
Mm.
have for 10 years been trying to grow my business and get more employees. And not only that, the biggest thing what I've been trying to do is there's always retirement down the road, hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my guy is, he's 5 years younger than me, and he has, I've asked him if he wants to buy, and he's like, "Steve, when you retire, I'm done."
Ah.
So as a small business owner, usually our business is part of our retirement plan. I own the property. I'd like to not only sell the property, I'd like to sell the business because
Of course.
there's a little bit more money there. So if I don't find anybody to take over Turner's Upholstery, it's worth zero.
Mm.
So not only is it worth zero, the name doesn't keep moving and people can't get their upholstery done.
Yep.
When I started in business in 1989, the phone book, both pages were upholstery shops. Now
Oh,
we
wow.
have one and a half, meaning when I say one and a half, we have me and another shop that's they're only open 20 hours a week. So I'm the only one around.
Wow.
Within an hour, I'm the only upholstery shop around. So there's many factors to that. So that's why I started Bring Back the Trades, because the lack of the carpentry people getting into it, the plumbers, stuff like that.
Yep.
So I started in 2017 on my own with a simple hat that said "Bring Back the Trades" right here.
Got the merch. He's got the merch.
So that's right there. It says "Bring Back the Trades" on it. But that's all it said was "Bring Back the Trades." And I had a hammer and a saw. The guy comes by, he sees it. He wants one. I start selling them to people online and Facebook. Starts blowing up. And one of my friends comes by and says, "What are you doing with the hats? You're selling them?" I'm like, "Yeah." "What are you doing with the money?" I said, "Well, I at this point don't really know." He goes, "Well, my mother just died, left me some money. I started a scholarship program over at the local high school, which is my high school. Why don't you sell them and start your own scholarship program?" That's where it started. So in
Nice.
2019, we became officially nonprofit. We've got 10 board members now. We go around to different schools. We try and educate all the students of how good the trades can be, not only just as a career, how much money you can make and love your job. This key thing is, I always like to say, you'll love your job. I run into a lot of people that don't work in the trades, that work behind the desk.
Mm-hmm.
Fortune 500 people that have left those jobs and have gone to the trades because they want to be happy. They want to work with their hands. They don't want to be just sitting at a desk. One of my good friends, he was on Wall Street. He was making tons of money. His father had a small engine repair shop. Left Wall Street, is taking that small little business to a huge business now. I mean, they bought out New Hampshire. I think it was a big, huge lawnmower company. But he says, "You know what? I just couldn't sit behind the desk anymore. I didn't love my job anymore."
Yes.
So a lot of the people are getting back into the trades because they love their jobs. Uh,
Yes.
so that's what I'm trying to explain to the kids that, and not just the kids, the parents. To
Yep.
me, it starts with the parents. We've got to really let the parents know that the trades are not of the trades that we know. The trades,
Yes.
like my father worked at a rubber manufacturing company. He would come home smelling like rubber every day. You go into a manufacturing company today, it's not the same. It's clean. I mean, they have great pay, vacation time. The trades today are not the trades of our day. And so I try and get the parents to realize, when they think of trades, they think of, the plumber, the garbage guy. That's what they first think of, and it's
Yep.
not that anymore. I mean, you have to be, not that you were never highly educated, but today you have to. I talk about post-secondary school because being in carpentry, being in welding, there's a lot of schooling involved. You
Yes.
have to be very, not just smart, because there's a lot of safety that goes
Yes.
in buildings now. Huge
Yes.
safety. Um,
Yes.
so there's so many, and I don't want to get lost on this, but there's so many different factors that I'm trying to get to the parents and the educators and the counselors at these schools.
Yes.
The counselors a lot too, because they've been pushing college for so long,
Yep.
um, that they need to change the way they do things. And on a positive note, it is changing. I mean, we're all
Yep.
seeing it. I'm seeing it. It's definitely changing. I'm talking to people every day. I definitely see it. I'm also working on trying to get the females back into the trades.
Yes.
I hate to say it, and it's awful, but it's a huge, another passion of mine is getting the females back into the trades, because there's a lot of females that can really like their jobs. And last year, we had more females apply for our scholarships than males. So
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
awesome. We just gave out a scholarship last month, or actually not last month, but in September, to a girl in Wisconsin that is going to be a pipe welder. She's taken up
Nice.
welding. Yeah. She loves her job. And one of the reasons why I love doing what I'm doing is when I call these students, like I called her, she was actually crying because she couldn't make her next payment on her classes.
Wow.
The $1,000 I gave her is not only going to pay for it, it's going to make her actually graduate and go into her field.
Oh my
So
God.
that's why I do it, because people don't realize trade schools don't cost that much money compared to college.
Sure.
And oh, before I forget this, we're not against college at all. I keep forgetting to bring this one up. A lot of people think that I'm against college, and we're not, because my son graduated from Quinnipiac College 2 years ago, um, and is doing very well for himself. So we're not against college. We are for the individuals that don't have a career path and don't know what's out there. So that's what my main focus. So I just want to make sure that everybody
Yeah.
knows we're not bash college. We're not. We're here for everybody.
Steve, I love that you said that, because well, a couple points. One, I believe from my own personal experience coming up in the trades, had I not started that summer job working as a plumber's helper back in 1996, Renee was just born. What were you, like a year old maybe?
Yeah, I was 2 years old.
Wow, my
And
son was born 98. So what are you, 25, 26?
I'm 27. I was born in
Okay.
1984.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Just a kid.
Had I not gone into the construction industry, I would not have found the appropriate environment for me to grow.
Yep.
The classroom environment was not a place that nurtured my skills and my way of learning. And so, ditto to what you said. I'm not against college. I'm against people getting pushed into an environment that's not going to serve them. Some
Correct.
people are going to thrive and grow in a classroom environment, in an academic setting, and hell yeah, go do that. But some of us are going to grow with our hands, putting our hands on the work, sweating and having the physicality and the competition and all the things, the awesome things that are in the trades.
Yep.
And I know you're doing this, and we're doing this as well, is how do we introduce that perspective to the education professionals, because they're not doing it to be ugly.
No.
They just don't know. They
Mm-hmm.
have no idea.
Yep.
And like you mentioned, the trades, they're not what they used to be. They're way, way, way safer. I mean, just in my time in the field,
Yeah, I
I mean,
know.
there's some stuff that I did that I didn't even think about how unsafe it was. And now I look
Yeah.
back like, my goodness, I
Oh
can't
yeah.
believe I did that.
Hmm.
It's safer. There's benefits, there's professional development, there's education. I mean, there's so many companies out there that do right by their people. It's not just a bunch of sweaty hard hats with no
Yeah.
thinking. There's actually, like you said, there's a lot of skill and a lot of continuing education that is required to remain marketable as a tradesperson. It's
Yep.
not like you pick up a hammer and boom, I'm a master carpenter. Negative. There's so much that we got to learn out there, and problem solving. I mean, point is, I'm with you on that. It's not either or. It's yes and.
Yeah.
I've gone back to college. I've gone to night school, taken a bunch of classes. I finally learned how to sit in my chair for more than an hour. Well, kind of.
I know.
Right? Like it's
Believe me.
it's all of that. You also mentioned the women and kind of the joy you were getting out of your work. We just interviewed Lisa Payan, who she got a degree in oh darn accounting, and she was working as an accountant. She's a mother of three, now she's a mother of four. And what she said was, Jess, I would sit at my desk doing my work, and I would find myself staring at the window saying, man, I wish I could be out there.
Yep.
And then, due to a series of things that happened in her life, she accidentally discovered a need for her to go and start doing plumbing and started a business off of it. And
You serious?
now,
Wow.
yeah, I swear, like it's a beautiful. Her husband's a plumber. She posted, or they did, they helped somebody in the neighborhood, and then they posted, hey, reach out to these people because they're awesome. And then they got flooded with calls. And her husband, he has a day job, he's a good friend of mine, was like, hey, look, if you need to come with me, because she was overselling, saying, oh yeah, we could do that, yeah, we could do that. He's like, no, you need to come with me to see what we're doing so that you don't oversell us.
Oh yeah.
And then she started learning it. She got her apprentice's card. She just took her, not just, but she got her journeyman license. And now they're operating a plumbing business, and she loves
Wow.
it. And she's commented that the joy that she gets from helping somebody. You go to somebody's house and they don't have hot water. That's not a fun thing.
Nope.
And she does her job, but the gratitude that comes from the client, she's like, man, that's like the best thing in the world. And it's one
Yeah.
of the things that people really aren't aware about. I'm sure you get the same sensation
Oh
when
yeah.
you turn over, like, here's your vehicle, here's your boat,
Exactly.
and they're like, they think you're a magician,
Yep.
and you feel great.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's a beautiful place to be. So what were I mean, you talked about there wasn't a lot of guidance in school, and I'm pretty sure back then there weren't a lot of scholarships for
None.
trade school.
No.
Um, and I
I don't
imagine
even think, to interrupt you, I don't even think there was trade schools back then. I seriously don't think there was. I think back then it was all on the job training.
just go
I
get
mean,
your job and
obviously,
you
yes,
learn
I
there.
think Massachusetts are, I'm in New Hampshire. Massachusetts still is way above New Hampshire as far as trade schools and the way they do things. But I think it was pretty much, of course, we had less rules back then too.
Sure.
There wasn't a lot of licenses. I mean, I don't know about 1989, but there probably wasn't plumbing licenses like there is today. We still in New Hampshire don't have construction licenses.
Oh wow. Yeah, no, you're right. I know
Yeah.
in 1995, there's a med gas endorsement that qualifies you to install piping for medical gas systems.
Yep.
That did not exist before 95.
Yeah.
And we're talking
Wow.
about the systems that provide oxygen and like
Oh yeah.
life-saving equipment or systems. Um, so now there's trade schools. Now there's Bring Back the Trades, the coolest, baddest, awesomest nonprofit in the galaxy. I imagine that you're just struggling to hand out these scholarships. How true is that?
It's 100% true. We're
Yeah.
having a hard time reaching, and I've actually figured out why,
Oh,
because I work very closely with the school of, it's called SST, Seco School of Technology. They're down the street from me. They have a trade school that they have 4 different schools that feed them. So it's a half a day class. 4 different schools go from bus and they go there. So one night I was asked to go to their open house because I work really close with the principal. She really loves what I'm doing. And she goes, I want you to sit in the front and I want every single parent to come meet you. So I did that, and I met every parent, gave them my card, gave them my brochures, talked to them about my scholarship program. Within a week, I had 10 scholarship essays. So then I figured out, now I know why I'm not getting them. It's because I have brochures that I send out to different schools and I give them to kids and stuff like that. But if you don't reach the kids, if you don't reach the parents, and I'm not saying that's true all the time, but I think I figured it out because, like I said, when I gave it to that parent, I was getting scholarship essays.
Oh yeah.
Hey, because the parents are the ones pays the bills. I mean,
Yes.
it is. You know, so I think what's happening, if I can reach the schools and figure out how I can get mailing addresses or email addresses to these parents and directly, give them my scholarship program, I think it will work. Just telling a kid, hey, here's if you want a scholarship, call these guys. It's going to be, I think it's just going to be forgotten. So I think that's my way of
that's the key,
fixing the problem. Because like you said, I am not, yes, we are getting, we're able to give out our money every single month, but my inbox, because our scholarships are available in every state in the United States.
Oh my God.
All you have to do is be graduating, obviously in 2022 this year. You have to be enrolled in a trade school because we pay the school directly, or you can be in a trade school now. So if you think about how many states there are, how many schools there are,
yes,
if everybody knew about it, I wouldn't be able to read all of them.
Yeah,
Seriously,
I'd be volunteering
hundreds
to
of
read.
thousands of people that would be applying to these.
Yes,
So
yes.
that's the reason why I'm not getting it out, because I'm not reaching the parents. At first I have mailers that I was sending out. I was sending them up to all the schools, but we've talked about it. If the person or the counselor that's getting it isn't energized about giving help to the kid,
Sure.
where does it go? Does it go in the trash can? Where does it
goes
go?
in the pile.
Does it go up on the bulletin board?
Yep.
So working with these schools, like I'm working with 4 or 5 schools now that are energized. They've got, I shouldn't say new leadership, but they do. They all have new leadership that want these schools to succeed.
Good.
And they're energized. And if it works, we all know when it works from the top down, when you got people at the top of the company that are energized, it goes all the way down.
Yes.
If you have somebody at the top that has no energy, it just radiates through the whole company.
Agreed. Leadership is such a huge factor in so many things. I mean, even if you're in the middle or down closer to the work, you could still motivate and change things, but it takes a lot more energy. If that person with the most influence and the most responsibilities on board, man, you're talking about smooth sailing.
Yep.
So 2 things. One, if people want to contribute to Bring Back the Trades, they can go to the website. Is it bringbackthetrades.com?
Bringbackthetrades.com. Yeah, you can become a sponsor of ours in any state. And what I'm trying to let people know now, and it's hard because if you're across the country to get involved with us, it's hard. But we do events.
Yep.
So what we do is we go out in the summertime. We're trying to do winter events inside now, but we have a huge tent. We're in the process right now of trying to purchase a big, huge Sprinter van that we can go to schools, have it all lettered up. But what I'm get back to the sponsorship is we go to different events, and what you can, when you donate money, you can also come to our events and talk about what you do at our events. And so all the kids and parents come there. It's almost like a job fair.
Yeah.
So you can actually be involved, not just give us money. If you give us money, I want you to be involved with us. I don't want, I'm not saying you have to be, but I want more people, more businesses to be involved with Bring Back the Trades, not just be a sponsor, to be actually, if you're looking for people to work, be involved with us. Come to an event, send one of your, reps. Timberlane Pro is a huge sponsor of ours. And starting next year, they're sending their people They're what's the word I'm looking for? They're what's the word I'm looking for when you work for a company?
The representative
Yes,
marketers, yeah,
yes, sorry.
representatives.
So they're going to send their representative to our events, and they're going to do Timberland Pro giveaways.
Nice.
So
All
they're getting
right.
involved with us, and not only that, they're going to start putting all of our scholarship winners in their brochures, in their apparel.
Oh
So the
man.
marketing
Nice.
there is going to be incredible.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you're not just giving us money, you're getting involved with Bring Back the Trades. You're part of I want everybody to be part of Bring Back the Trades. I want this to be a huge team effort.
Absolutely.
And there is no competition, competing against each other. If I have two plumbers, hey, so what? Let's be
Let's
all
do it.
friends here. Let's all work
Yes.
together, because there is
Yes.
enough people out there to supply everybody with workers.
Yes.
So that's what we're trying to do. And yes,
Beautiful.
like I said, if you want to apply for a scholarship, you go to bringbackthetrades.com. You fill out an essay of why you're deserving of our scholarship. And also on there, if the word essay scares you, you can pick up your phone like this, and you can do a video of yourself talking to it, and you can email it to me at steve@bringbackthetrades.com that way. So if you're not a good writer, we totally get it. You don't have
Yep.
to write an essay. You can do a video and you can send it to me. We're trying to make it so that no matter what your skills are, you can apply for our scholarship.
Man, like that's super innovative, breaking down the barriers that are keeping people from connecting. Um, uh, that you're specifically targeting a specific age group, because if not, I'm going to send you my TikTok link so you could see all my videos so I could
So
get that scholarship.
we're not, because you can be in a trade school right now,
Yep.
or you're graduating. So because we pay the school directly.
Yep. Yep.
So
Okay.
a lot of kids will apply. I just changed my wording, because a lot of kids will be thinking about trade school and they'll apply. And I'm like, well, we're not paying you, we're paying the schools. You actually have to be enrolled, because we need a number. You can be enrolled and not be going until next year, because we'll give you the scholarship next year, but you have to be enrolled because the money's got to go somewhere.
Good. So critical point, you got to be enrolled in a trade school, submit a video, submit an essay, whatever you want to do. And like,
Age doesn't matter.
beautiful. Oh my goodness, that is immense.
We're just our target is bringing back the trades, not aged or anything. We're just trying to bring them back.
I love it. So this is a call out to the L&M family out there. I know you know people. Share this message. Let's make life hard for Steve. Let's make sure he's struggling to read applications and watch videos so we can give that money away and we can bring back the trades. And you can also buy the merch. You got
Yep.
for people
I have the
on
sweatshirt.
YouTube.
So
he's got
we
the
have
sweatshirt.
t-shirts and sweatshirts. You can go to bringbackthetrades.com. We have a shop page on there. You can do that. And then also you can, if you're a private person, you can just donate money. But if you're a business, we have 3 tiers of donation there. Depends on how far you want to get involved.
It's super exciting. All right, so now we're gonna get a little personal, because I mean, you're amazing. If people haven't picked up on how amazing you are, I don't know what we got, let's get the AED device and make sure they're alive. But you've had a tremendous amount of experience over your years, that have brought you to a point in life where it seems like you're focused on leaving a legacy and having a huge impact on your community. And so along that path, I'm wondering, this is for the fans only content. What is a significant learning that you've had as a result of a painful misstep? It's me again, the party crasher. I do this so that I can remind you that you can sign up for 3 different levels on patreon.com/learnings and missteps. All 3 levels are going to get you backstage pass access. So you're going to get to learn the dark secrets of our guests. And more importantly, you're going to help us stay commercial free. So appreciate y'all's patience, and here we go. All we have to do is ask, and things get get so much clearer. Man, that's
Yeah.
beautiful. Tell the
My
truth.
wife says I used to be an awful. It all comes back to communication. She goes, "You used to avoid the communication. You didn't want to talk." She goes, "Now you're the best communicator, and it's all about communicating."
Yes, yes. And there's vulnerability in
Yeah, huh?
communication, right? Like
Uh-huh.
when you're telling your truth, it sounds great, right? And liberating.
Yeah.
Speak
Oh
your
yeah.
truth.
Yep.
But there's vulnerability because people can make fun of you. People can
That's
dismiss you. People can reject you. People
mm-hmm.
can look at you like, what's going on in that head of yours? So there's immense vulnerability, but my goodness, the value of just telling the truth and communicating, Steve. I remember when we had the conversation on the Skilled Trades Alliance podcast, I was shocked when your wife was telling us that you used to not be good at speaking engagements. And I'm
Oh
like,
my
no way,
God.
not Steve.
I mean, I have a set of stairs and I'm looking at that. My first, well, actually my second, but my first one was at a Rotary Club
Mm,
to get an award. And I am telling you the truth that I was sitting there. The person that nominated me for the award was up talking to me. Not only was I sweating to death, I wanted to get up. My body was like already going, "You're running out of this building. You can't do this." And that's the other person. I was scared to death.
oh,
And I don't, I do speeches all the time now. And I basically tell myself the same thing I do with running. You're going to get up there. You're going to do the best that you can, and it's going to be over. And
yep.
now I don't even. I'm not saying if I got up in front of 1,000 people, in an auditorium, like with cameras on me, I wouldn't be nervous because I would. But I think I still could get through it compared to we're all just. I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm going to be who I am, and the outcome is going to be the outcome, and people are going to always look at you and say, "Well, he's not a good speaker," and those people are just going to be that way. And some people are going to really say he's passionate about what he is, and that's all that matters. And there's going to be people that say, well, he's not really that good of a speaker, and there's nothing you can do about it.
10-4. Renee, did you hear what he just said?
Hmm.
Is that helpful to you?
That's very helpful. And
I
it's
mean,
funny. That's so funny that you say that because like it's I mean, I I just had like an aha moment how I'm being like super hypocritical because like there's this guy I work with. He, I like been secretly mentoring him. I don't think he knows that, but there's this guy that's got promoted from one of the entry level jobs in our company, and he must have skipped about 2 or 3 grades to get here, uh, and he's super like he has a really good work ethic, and I really believe he deserves to be in the job that we have, but he kind of like he's missing some on the field experience uh, that will be super helpful in our job,
yep,
but he makes up for it in grit and
Yeah.
perseverance and just attitude, right? And I talk to him a lot. And one of the things I tell him is a lesson that my ex foreman used to tell me. He says, if you're scared to make a decision, you're not going to make it here. If you're
mm-hmm,
scared to be wrong, you're not going to make it here. And I tell him that, right? But now I'm thinking about myself when I'm speaking and stuff, and I'm scared to say something that's gonna make me look stupid or make me look silly or goofy or whatever.
yep,
And I'm like, man, I'm a big giant hypocrite.
okay, yeah,
It's always easier to advise others than it is to follow your own advice.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I know that I'm never going to be that. There's some people that I admire because they're just such good speakers. I mean, I'll use Mike Rowe. Mike Rowe,
Hmm.
he's such a good speaker. My biggest problem, my wife even tells me all the time, slow down, talk
Ah,
slower, don't talk so fast. But I'm just an energetic guy.
yes,
And
yes.
I'm like, I'm never going to be that calm guy that just, and maybe it'll get better over time because it's all about being, knowledge, because my speeches are so much better now because I have more knowledge of what I'm doing.
Yep.
But I'm never going to be that charismatic, guy that sits there and just people just want to listen to. So I just go up there and I do my best, and it's all we can do, is to be honest and hopefully try and get the point across before you lose them. And then that's my biggest thing I'm working on right now. I have a couple people I'm working with is get your get your most important message across quickly, because
Mm.
if you lose them, you want that point done fit quickly.
Get it
Yeah.
out, put it in front of them, and then you can ramble and tell stories and all the
Yeah.
other stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. But the
Well, I have
biggest,
a lot.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I have a lot of practice talking.
Yep. And you're good at it.
I'm good at it. It may not be good for people, but I'm pretty good at moving my damn mouth.
Yep. I think it's good. I mean, I love listening to you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that, Steve. So we're sliding into home,
Yep.
and you've already had a tremendous impact on hell the country and the trades. So I'm curious to know what footprint do you intend to leave on the world?
If I can leave a footprint that brings back the honor
Mm,
and respect of the skilled trades individuals, that's what I'm doing. I am working so hard to get teachers involved and bring back the trades. I personally have a sister-in-law that's a counselor, and my wife is a teacher. My wife is
nice.
heavily involved in Bring Back the Trades, Miss Sherry Turner, which is the love of my life and saved my life. I mean,
Mm,
it's just incredible. I mean, without her, I might not be in front of this computer right now. Who knows?
hmm
You know, very supportive. But I'm working. I mean, I did a post this morning: free apparel for any counselor or school in any state. I mean,
Yes. Yes.
but it's awful, and this is where we talk about looking in the mirror and getting depressed and stuff like that. And my wife says, "Don't take it personally. We've talked about this. Not everybody follows what you do because you don't follow what they do. We've talked about this before,
Yep.
right?"
Yep.
And I work on this every day because I do multiple posts giving free apparel to any counselor or teacher or principal to support the trades. And I've gotten zero support. Actually, I take that back. The trade schools have helped me, but the
Yep.
non-trade schools and teachers have not helped me. And like I said, I've got 5 friends that are teachers that
Yep.
see my posts that won't
Mm,
take the apparel. So
mm.
I'm gonna my wife's like, just give it up. I'm like, nope, I'm gonna keep pushing, because when I
Yes.
get that one teacher that
That's
wears
it.
it, then the other teacher will wear it, and then the other
Yes.
teacher will wear it. So get back to what I want. I want the kids, not just the kids, I want every single person that's in the trades to be honored for their skill
Mm.
and the stigma to go away. That's what I want. I
Oh
want
my.
the person that comes to clean your toilet to be honored just as much as the heart surgeon that fixes your heart to save your life. It should
Mm.
be We should all be looked at the same way, no matter what we do. We've lost that. We have.
Yes. Yes.
We've definitely lost it. I mean, you can look back in the years, 100 years ago, and the skilled trades were looked at differently than they are today. So
Man,
that's the legacy I want, is the skilled labor to be honored.
love it, Steve. And I'd like permission. Renee and I would love permission to join you in that effort. Uh,
Absolutely.
it's a noble effort, and so shout out to all the L&M educators out there. Get you some free apparel. I'm gonna jump online and find that post, Steve, and push it out to my network and challenge folks to sign up for it. I mean, you're giving it away. You're doing so much for the industry and for the community. And I mean, I honestly I feel like it's just a matter of time, and it's a short time, but before you get flooded with the requests and the asks and the applications, and I hope that we'll be able to contribute to your mission there. Uh,
Mhm.
so Renee, you got any last questions, last thoughts?
Yeah, I actually do this time.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. Like I try to do I try to have conversations or call out, like for example, I had a conversation with somebody the other day, and they were talking about Via bus drivers, and I've never worked with Via or had anything to do with Via other than taking the Via bus myself. But I do know they're CDL license holders, as am I, and are all the entry level employees at SAWS. They also are CDL holders. And the conversation I was having was, this person said that these Via bus drivers drive like they don't care. They blow through yield signs, or they blow through this, and they drive recklessly and things like that. And I felt personally attacked almost. I'm like, whoa. I was like, hold on. I was like, have you ever thought about what challenges they're going through? Maybe they have a schedule to meet. Maybe they're behind. Maybe they had a surplus of wheelchair people getting on their bus, and that takes extra time. Um, who knows? Maybe there's construction on their route. I don't know. There's a whole lot of obstacles this Via bus driver has to get through, and they're just trying to meet maybe their quota or their agenda bus route. I don't know. I don't know what challenges they go through, but I felt personally attacked because I've been there where I remember one time I was working on a water main break downtown in our super busy uh, area where there's a lot of bars and pubs and, you know, social gathering places. And we had the water off, right? So all these bars and clubs don't have water. And, we're working on the main break, and like we're, it's the time where the excavator is excavating the stuff out of the hole so that it's safer and easier for us guys to get in there and make the repair, right? Well, so we're kind of standing around, maybe shoveling some dirt over here, cleaning up the sidewalk. And like some guy passes by and he's like, oh, that's what our taxpayer money is going to, so you can stand around. And he just like drives off. And I felt personally attacked because it's like there's there's no I feel like there's this great decline in respect and compassion for what these trades workers do. We're trying to get the water back on. We don't want to stand there with
Yep.
they don't, this Via bus driver doesn't want to drive aggressively. I doubt it. I doubt he does not want to be in an accident. And I had this conversation defending them, and I just feel like it would be so much. I would be personally grateful to see and be exposed to a new, like a change of mind
Yeah.
that people have for people that are providing an essential service to everybody that we don't think about. I don't really hear people thanking the plumbers or electricians like to keeping your power and water going. We don't hear about that. It's kind of all in the
You
back
only
burner.
hear about that when it's freezing weather and your pipes are frozen or you have no electricity. Unfortunately, that's
Exactly.
a human thing.
Yeah.
Right. And I really appreciate what you're doing. And yes, I'd love to be on board and help out any way that I can to get
Absolutely.
that change of mind going.
Absolutely. But on a personal note, if there's anybody out there, because I always like to talk about, the struggles I've had in life, you know, you know, everybody looks at me going, he's got it, he's overcome this. He's an ultra runner. He's got this. But what I'm still struggling on, so that everybody knows what I'm still struggling on, so that they always can feel a little bit better about themselves, is I've had this discussion a million times. My chiropractor is actually my psychiatrist at the same time,
Wow.
because, I come across these finish lines after putting myself through torture. And I think I've discussed this with you before.
Yep.
And this is my second time. And I was behind my time 6 hours this year.
Mm.
And I actually beat my time and I mentally pushed through it. But when I come across the finish line, there is no self worth when I come across that finish line.
Mm.
I tell my wife it's the worst. It's not the worst feeling in the world, but it's like, and my chiropractor says someday it will happen. You just got to keep pushing. Maybe you just have one of those, non-feeling of accomplishment,
Yep.
or you're just a driven person. But if anybody's out there listening and has that same issue, I guess it's a normal thing, but that's why I keep pushing myself further and further. But it would be nice to have that come across the finish line and drop on the ground and just bawl my friggin' eyes out going, holy shit. No, but it doesn't happen. And
Yeah.
my wife's like, I don't get you. And I'm like, well, it is what it is. But I also tell people it's, when you're doing these things, you're by yourself. You have nobody was on that journey but me. So it's not
Yes.
a team effort. Like
Mm.
we're all here talking, we're all talking, but when I'm out there, it's 100% by myself. So the only person I can talk about it with is myself. So when I come across that finish line, everybody knows I did it, but nobody was really with me. Versus being on a hockey team where everybody just champagne and, so that's what I'm working on now is to feel accomplished, I guess.
Yes. Yes.
Which is a bad feeling because I've got a lot to be accomplished about. But
Yep.
that's if anybody's out there and realizes that's what I'm working on is to feel accomplished.
Oh man, loud and clear. I mean, you're talking to me right now, Steve. I just had a conversation about that with a couple of friends over the past few days, and the resounding question is, what is it that you need to prove to yourself? And
Exactly.
and I don't have the answer, but
I don't either.
you touched on something, Steve. When I do things independently, it's like, okay, done. What's next? Well, when I do things with people together, connected in a community, I can 100% celebrate the hell out of that.
Yep.
And so if it offers you any solace, I feel like you, myself, Adam, Al with STA, and all the other trade advocates out there in the country that maybe feel alone,
Mm-hmm.
like we are doing it together. And Steve, I want to celebrate you because you have you put the whiskey in my tank.
You can quote that too because my wife will love it.
You fuel me, man. Like seeing you out there, like, okay, he's doing it, like we're doing this together. I'm not alone anymore. So I applaud you for that, Steve. Thank
Well,
you.
thank you very much. And I
Yeah.
thank you for all you do for the trades and everything for Bring Back the Trades.
10-4. You got it,
And
my man.
Renee, I appreciate everything you do.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Well, I think we'll wrap on that, gentlemen. What do you think?
Awesome.
That was good.
Perfect.
Oh, did you have fun, Steve?
I had a great time. Great time. I always do.
Yeah,
This is the part of Bring Back the Trades that I enjoy.
yeah. This is
There's
the
a lot
fun part.
there's a lot of hours behind the computer and stuff like this that it's not, I wouldn't say not so enjoyable, but it's the administrative part that's, I'm trying to get some help on that because I mean, I'm literally getting
Yeah.
overwhelmed with that part of it, but without that part of it, I can't do the other part of it.
Yes, it
So
takes all pieces.
it does. But,
Yeah.
I always say, they used to say it's a marathon, not a sprint. Now I say it's an ultra marathon, not a sprint.
Yes, definitely. Action.
What's up, L&M fam? We really appreciate you listening to our interview with Steve Turner at bringbackthetrades.com. I think it's about that time for our shout out. What do you think, Jesse?
10-4, baby. So this shout out comes from an educator who has been committed for her entire career to the youth in our community here in San Antonio. So shout out to Miss Frances de la Peña. Actually, I think it's Dr. Frances de la Peña. She shares, thank you for sharing your podcast. It was real and relatable, great perspective from an educator's standpoint. And I will add that our society drives a clear message of the haves and have nots. Racism is alive even after 50 years of federal law. Raza keeps raza down. And parents, single, adoptive, grandparent, and siblings, are the first teachers of children. It is not the responsibility of schools to teach morals and beliefs, yet educators are called mom or pops by the slip of the babe's tongue because we teach it all beyond academics that now includes advanced technology. Teaching is a passion for some and a paycheck for others. We need individuals like you and your speakers to mentor our male and female students going into the trades, because learning happens every day in and outside of classrooms. So consider a mentorship program for middle school students going into high school that match a criteria for keeping them from getting lost in real world consequences, such as juvenile penitentiary system or worse, death. Peace to you, my friend. Damn, what do you think
Whoa.
about that feedback, Renee?
Gee, mic drop.
You know, a couple of points that she made through this is the role that many educators play in becoming a pseudo parent for the kids. They become the example that the stability, the discipline that the child needs to thrive, and by default they end up filling a parent's role, and for various reasons. You know, there's everybody's suffering different flavors of pain. And she also pointed out that there are some educators that are doing that and they're amazing. But there's also that are just there for a paycheck, and that's less than awesome. And what stands out to me the most, and I think this is a shout out to all our former guests, future guests, and the L&M family, of what are we doing to help? Right? She says, put together a mentorship program for these students so that they can stay on the path. What do you think about that mentorship program, Renee?
I take this challenge personally, you know, to mentor my own kids. I'm a young father myself, and I gotta really lock in and really focus on mentoring my own children as well, starting at home. Um, they're gonna be becoming young adults pretty soon, and challenge accepted.
Boom, done. So there you go. Francis, thank you for calling us out, and thank you for your meaningful and deep words. I hope it resonates and rings some people's bells out there to figure it out. Get up, stand up, do what you can do. And to the rest of the L&M family, keep that feedback coming. You are the whiskey in our tank. You help us continue going, just like Mr. Steve Turner there. So we'll talk again soon. Peace. Man, you are one dedicated listener, sticking with us all the way through to the very, very end. Please know that this podcast dies without you, and we invite you to share how the episode's impacting you, along with your thoughts, questions, and suggestions. You have been gracious with your time, so we added social media links in the show notes to make it super easy for you to connect with us. Be kind to yourself, stay cool, and we'll talk at you next time.